Oh man, this is bad. How far has the MCU fallen that it's now producing this kind of frothy garbage? She-Hulk, attorney at law. Since Captain Marvel in 2019, the MCU has gradually become more and more woke and primarily focused on pushing the popular male characters out of the limelight in favour of putting mostly unpopular and unlikable female characters in their place. All in the name of diversity and inclusion, of course. When the first MCU Hulk movie was released in 2008, long before wokeness, it originally starred Edward Norton, as you know. It wasn't a great movie. In fact, it was one of the weaker films in the franchise. But it was a serious movie at least, and it took the character and his journey seriously. However bland it may have been in places, it wasn't a goofy comedy by any means. It dealt with Bruce Banner's affliction from the effects of gamma radiation in a mature fashion. The character was filled with angst and dread at the powerful and terrifying force of the Hulk that lay within him. A monster he had to learn to keep restrained, but eventually learn to reconcile with and to use as a force for good. And this respect for the overwhelming power of the Hulk continued in the first Avengers film, played this time of course by Mark Ruffalo, where he was very much seen as an X-factor among the core Avengers team. He was the unstable element within the group, and the one they all feared could just explode in a fit of rage and wreck the place at a moment's notice. He was the strongest of the Avengers and the most dangerous because he was so completely uncontrollable and unpredictable. But in Avengers Endgame, the Hulk was merged with Bruce Banner into one being to become Professor Hulk, which I acknowledge does follow the comic book arc. I just didn't like it. It weakened the Hulk and robbed him of his sense of danger and the awesome monstrousness that made him fun and exciting. And of course, this version of the Hulk doesn't really do much fighting in the film. Now, flash forward to 2022, and we have a new Hulk TV series. Kind of. Well, it's Hulk-related anyway. The Bruce Banner Hulk is actually a secondary character to a new female Hulk character. That's how far the franchise has fallen to wokeness and the need for constant displays of female empowerment. Apparently it has to pander to feminist gender politics to such a degree that the main male character has to be relegated to the backseat in his own story. And of course, he's basically just the butt of the jokes now. As you might imagine, this new female Hulk shows him up continuously and is able to do everything he can do but better, and right from the start, the Mary Sue effect. She's an attorney at law, and also the whole premise of having a gigantic green rage monster inside is just played for laughs here. This is a light-hearted, comedy-centric series, because since Thor Ragnarok, that's where the MCU has descended to, farce and slapstick humour. And in the case of this series, breaking the fourth wall by speaking directly to the audience.
If you want to go back to your life as a lawyer, I respect that.
He doesn't mean that.
This series looks more like a cartoon in my view.
Jen, do your thing. God, I really like this outfit. I'm not proud of this.
Oh my god, who wanted this? Right, don't tell me the fans wanted this series to be produced. Who would watch this? This is cringe on a level that really shouldn't be possible. Let's take a look at another cringe clip from She-Hulk.
Here's the thing, Bruce. I'm great at controlling my anger. I do it all the time. But when I'm catcalled in the street...
Oh, this has to be a joke. The hero's traumatic journey, receiving unwanted compliments from men on the street. How can she ever recover from this?
When incompetent men explain my own area of expertise to me, I do it pretty much every day, because if I don't, I will get called emotional or difficult, or I might just literally get murdered.
Might just literally get murdered by the mansplaining. What kind of next level shite is this? She might be murdered by a mansplainer. Some dude could mansplain to her. Who knew the ferocious and deadly power of the mansplain?
So I'm an expert at controlling my anger because I do it infinitely more than you.
I'm such a victim of men. But apparently she's supposed to be a role model. And this is the kind of first world problems that triggers her, apparently. This is the basis of her struggle. These are not challenges. These are petty, irrelevant, day-to-day things that feminists typically call microaggressions. Oh boy. They just make the character seem brittle, weak, and self-absorbed. This is the kind of divisive identity politics that will only further drive audiences away. And no doubt when audiences complain about how the show contains such irritating political messaging, they'll probably just be called sexist, I'd imagine. Come back to me when you've experienced the character-building origin story hardships of the likes of Tony Stark, who had to be humbled from his arrogance and learn that his weapons were killing innocent people. Or Bruce Wayne, whose parents were murdered in front of him when he was just a child. Thor, who was banished by his father for his arrogance, he lost his powers and was exiled to Earth, where he was no longer worthy enough to lift his own hammer. Or Spider-Man, who had to lose his Uncle Ben in order to realize that with great power comes great responsibility. These were inspiring hero stories that were not gender-specific. They were filled with timeless wisdom, some of them even cautionary tales. They were universal and relatable themes of things like self-sacrifice, personal development, and overcoming adversity or personal weaknesses. But just like with the story of Captain Marvel, it appears that with She-Hulk, the attitude is, I'd be perfect if men would just get out of my way. Thanks very much for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.